Welcome to EXiST with Mitchell Anton MacEachern. I'm pretty sure I exist. I can't be sure though, but I'm pretty sure. I find it funny that we say pretty sure. It's like as if there's an ugly sure, or if there's a sexy sure, or maybe there's I don't know, an average, a mild, a spicy sure. I don't know. That you can qualify sure in any way you want, except when it comes to like using it to explain reality, because I'm not quite sure I exist. Although I do have one thing to say about surety, which is a word and it means to, be sure. It's that surety existence doesn't come with any sort of surety except for pain. Pain is the most remarkably certain thing. It's undeniable that when you're hurting, like I was hungover the other day, and there's just no way around it. You are hungover, When you're having a good time and you're out with your friends or whatever, you can be like, am I having a good time? Do I really like this person? Do I actually want to spend more time doing this? Or should I just go? Like, you never really know. But with pain, you're like, yeah, it hurts. You can deny that it hurts. Like some tough people are like, nah, I don't hurt, but it hurts. It hurts. And you're like, yeah, this hurts. So pain is certain. Pain is sure. You can be sure that when you're hurt, right? We can go into that. That'd be interesting. Like, what does it mean to be hurt? Like there's the physical symptoms of pain, and your nerves firing and giving your brain information. It's like something is wrong, like an alarm bell thing. That's what they tell us. Like, you've ever heard your heart like beating in your thumb after you smash it with the hammer or you stub your toe? You can almost feel your heartbeat in that limb. I find that kind of interesting. But like, what is that? That's a body responding to stimuli. And we could just take that and say, okay, we both understand what that means. We both have been hurt. But a body responding to stimuli doesn't mean necessarily pain. We qualify pain. Sadomasochism is exactly proof of this. That some people actually get off on pain, and some people get off on giving pain. But pain is not necessarily bad in the way that we imagine it. Like when you're working out, it might be uncomfortable, but you wouldn't consider the pain bad. And like Sam Harris said that one time about how, like, if you ever had the pain of the burn in your muscles from working out while laying in a hospital bed somewhere, and the pain was associated with some illness, you'd be in excruciating pain. But you go to the gym and work out and you're like, yeah, everything's fine. Like, I know what's going to happen. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just the knowing what's going to happen bit. Like, we don't like pain that's out of our control. And then sadomasochism is like that too. Like there is a degree of control. That's why they have the safe word and everything. But when you think about it, it's like it won't turn into violence. Where violence is like inflicting damage on something, and the other thing is at the mercy of the inflictor. So there's a lack of control. But what is control? The word etymologically speaking, control means to move against, like to roll the opposite way. Contra roll. I mean, I didn't make that up. That's exactly what the etymology says. It's a contrary roll, which is amazing. You think about it, like control, you'd think that control would be something that you would give you power over something, but it's actually to work against something. It could be. I mean, I'm not saying that's certain or sure, but it's definitely interesting that the word control means to roll against or to move against. Like, what are we moving against? The flow of reality itself, probably. We have an incredibly difficult time accepting what is happening. even if we like it, you know, we don't just accept what is happening. And I find that very interesting. What does it mean to accept? Like, there's Frank Ostaseski made this comment in his book, 5 Invitations, about fear. He's talking to his daughter on the beach in the book, and he says, you know, when you're afraid, right? There's a part of you that knows you're afraid. Well, identify with that. Like, identify with the awareness that you are existing. Don't identify with the pain. Don't say, I'm in pain. Say, I'm aware I'm in pain. I mean, of course, that's going to be hard to do while you're in pain, but it's worth a try, because I think the awareness of pain is what we are. Awareness is what we are. We aren't physical beings. We're awareness. Awareness is non-physical. Awareness is the part of us that doesn't exist yet, but could. Like, you're observing the world, right, at all times. Like, right now, you're listening to me talk. You could be somewhere else. Nobody's here with me right now. But you could, unless you're with me, and I don't know. I just looked over my shoulder. I don't know. Maybe you're stalking me. Or maybe I'm stalking me. But, oh, that's it. Like, when you think you're being watched, you feel like you're being watched. Like, you're aware you're being watched. You're aware that you're being awared. Like, you're aware that something is watching you. And that's very interesting, because to watch something intensely it breaks whatever it is. So I was like, even like, just look at your hands right now. Like, what the fuck are those things? I mean, they're strange if you look at them. They're strange things. Stare at them, like, evaluate your hands. They're always with you. And yet the more you look at them, the less understandable they become. You use all sorts of words to explain them to yourself, but you don't know what they are. You can control them, but you don't know what they are. And their shape and their form and how they feel. All these things exist, but you're aware they exist. And that awareness is not your hands. Your hands are not aware. Something is aware of your hands. And that's what we can identify with while we're existing, as opposed to identifying with our body or our job or our minds. Like, awareness, you can become aware of your mind, right? Like, it's not just, awareness isn't psychic in the sense of, like, it's dependent on your brain. Like, you can be aware you're not aware. Have you ever, like, slipped into, like, you come back to consciousness, you're like, oh fuck, I was just, like, in another world. Or when we go to sleep, that's the closest thing we have to non-existence, right? We fall asleep and we wake up and we're like, oh yeah, I was asleep. And then we think, oh, that's got to be like oblivion. That's got to be something like death. But I mean, you wake up, don't you? Like, you can't have non-existence. It doesn't exist. You only have awareness, and awareness persists. Awareness is seeking information all the time. That's what it does. It just pays attention. If you identify with awareness and then you start to trust it and go where it's asking you to go, then you will realize what I'm talking about is a lot more true than it might sound. Like, when you go to sleep and you pass out and you don't have experiences, your body's still sleeping in the bed and all that jazz, you lose existence, you lose awareness, but you don't. Because you can't have that experience of non-existence without existence itself. You can't have non-existence without awareness. It's because we wake up that we know that we were asleep. And that's the truth for death as well. Non-existence doesn't exist. Awareness persists. What it persists exists. Even when we die, we have awareness. It's the same as going to sleep. At least I think we do. What I'm saying is that when you fall asleep and wake up, you only know you fell asleep because you woke up. Because I'm alive right now existing, I have to assume that I died. So I wouldn't be too afraid of death. What I think we should be afraid of is immortality. Like, to over-identify with what is, the physical experience, is like, how do you say it? Taking the poison. It's fear. Like, if you do something because you're afraid, you're going to ruin your life. And immortality is because we're afraid of death. We have no reason for seeking immortality other than because we're afraid to die. You know, if we were okay with dying, then we wouldn't have a problem with it, and we would be okay. We wouldn't need immortality. And yet we do. We seek it. We seek it in art. We seek it in partnerships, and biology seeks it. Procreation. And it's just missing the point the whole time. But it's only because awareness has only recently evolved to the point where it's aware enough to know that it doesn't stop being. Like, awareness has been big. When we look back out into space, thanks to the scientific method, we can see the past and the Earth and the universe, how it was created, more or less. Of course, it's an oversimplification, but like 200 years ago, there was no Big Bang. We had to become aware of it. So whenever you learn something new, your awareness is like, more, more. So learning isn't just about like getting a job or becoming an attractive partner or even successful. Learning is about gaining awareness, like gaining vision, gaining clarity on the way things are. And if you can become aware that you're aware, which is a very real possibility, you'll see awareness for what it is. And that's everything. Like, if you just stay still for a second and just listen, like, you're not aware that your heart's beating right now, but if you pay attention, you can see it. But there was a time when the beating of the heart was more or less the endeavor of that organism, or that facet of this organism. Creation didn't just happen. It didn't just snap of fingers and everything is the way it is now. Everything was grown through paying attention, trial and error, and learning. And now we have awareness. And we have an awareness that's aware that it's aware. So if you, one way to understand this is that if you seek to make your life easier, you will get weaker and your life will get harder. But if you seek to make your life harder, you will get stronger and your life will get easier. And that's because you'll gain awareness. You'll be aware of who you are. You'll be aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it. You'll be able to more or less maneuver through reality, or if you get lucky enough or persistent enough, because I think those two things are the same. You get control of reality. And not in the word, like, we need a new word. We're not moving against reality. When you become aware that you are reality, everything changes. So the next time you have a desire to do something, like a pleasure-seeking desire, of an escape desire, some kind of desire to make your life easier, just do the opposite. Control it. Move against it. See what happens. You're probably going to be uncomfortable, but that's a skill you're developing right there, the skill to pay attention. This is what it feels like to suffer pain. And when we suffer pain, we become real. And when we become aware that we're real, well, I don't know. The rest is up to you, I guess. Thank you very much for listening. Stay tuned for more episodes.